They got zebras there.
Not at the aquarium.
No, not at the aquarium.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, no. They're the only aquarium in the world with the hippo exhibit.
But there are no other animals that supersede both, right?
That what?
That are in both. You see what I'm saying?
Well, no, like the aquarium and the zoo both have penguins.
Oh yeah, penguins.
Yeah,
I forgot about
crocodiles. The aquarium's got crocodile. I'm sure the zoo's got some crocs.
I don't know if I've ever been to an aquarium.
What, Ben?
I don't think I've ever been to an aquarium.
Camden Aquarium's pretty wild. They got some stuff there.
Yeah, I have.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com first look. And this is like first look. I mean, as early as it possibly gets. Talk a little Super Bowl 57 here. Glendale, Arizona, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. We're happy to have you guys with us, as always. It's going to be an exciting one. We're just a cursory look here. I already got some bets, though. I know Ben does, too. That should be fun. Lot of injuries to the pass catching position for the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll talk about it. Love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Appreciate all of you being with us. Hit that thumbs up as you walk in the door. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Where are you at? Where are you going with this game? From a DFS betting perspective, whatever it is, we'd love to hear from you. We try and read all your comments. At very least, read all of them, respond to all of them. And if you're listening in podcast form, hey, leave us a rating and a review. Subscribe to the pod. Tell your friends. Tell your friends what's going down here over at Stokastic. What's happening, man?
Nothing. Yeah, we're here. I know we got a long runway, but we are in fact at the big game. So it's fun to take that first look. I like doing this because it's amazing to see where you are on, say, a Tuesday this far out, and then where you end ultimately on Super Bowl Sunday. So we get a chance to dig in, see what's going on, see what people in chat think, and it's good to do the show with you in the sense you must be feeling pretty good. A sweat-free NFC Championship game.
I didn't feel – it felt weird about that game. I felt like we cheated.
Well, you feel dirty?
Yeah, but we didn't. It's not our fault that like our pass rush is dominant and, you know, it's not. But I think you understand a little bit what I'm saying here. We played 3 quarters against a team that couldn't throw the football, like literally couldn't throw a football. I still think we narrowly win that game, but it was a blowout for a very apparent reason. They couldn't – I'm just being objective here. I'm not trying to be your typical Philly fan. Like, no, not Philly fan, typical anyone fan comes in with that same approach. Like, oh, well, no one would feel bad for us. I'm not saying I feel bad. You know, I don't feel bad. I still wanted to win. It's not like I would have rather lost. I'm just saying it was a weird game. I didn't really have many emotions afterwards.
I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Objectively, I think if you were a neutral fan, I kind of was. I like both those teams. It was a little disappointing just because I wanted to see the game, and we didn't really get that. But I'm too bitter at this point in my life. Like I don't care what. Like people are always saying, like, oh, the game's rigged. Well, if they're rigged in my favor, I'm all for that. I don't care. So you caught a really lucky break. I thought they should have went Wildcat immediately. Not that it would have changed the outcome. That wasn't going to work either. But how can you have a guy with a torn UCL back there?
Yeah, he threw 1 or 2 passes. They were like at the line of scrimmage, to the line of scrimmage. It was just not. What's the point? It doesn't make any sense. Unless it was to try and trick the Eagles into believing that he was going to throw. But we knew at that point it wasn't going to happen. Like, it was very obvious, you know?
It felt like my only complaint, again, I don't think anything could have changed that outcome. My only complaint, it felt like the Niners gave up and were more worried about keeping it semi-respectable than trying crazy shit and losing by like 50.
It did feel that way, and that's odd for Shanahan, right? You wouldn't really expect that to be the case. The penalties were crazy. They took a lot of penalties, a lot of holding penalties. A punt went off the camera wire.
Bad missed challenge. That could have changed the whole game.
Which one?
The amazing catch by Smith, but if they challenge that one.
Yeah. Amazing non-catch, really.
Yeah, he didn't catch it, so it's.
Mike's a homer, so he won't admit any of this. Mike producing the show, but and I love that we have all. Listen, I'm a big time Eagles fan. Okay. I love the Eagles. Like Ben was with me when they won the NFC Championship game against the Vikings in 2018 to advance the Super. I was overjoyed, but that was also a game where we won in a rout against a healthy Minnesota team. You guys, you say what you want, right? But like, it was an odd game, and Jalen Hurts did not play well at all. Jalen Hurts had a bad game.
I asked you this after the Giants game. I'm gonna ask you again. How much is that just because he had a bad game, or how much do you think he's still not the MVP caliber quarterback?
At this point, it's hard to say. Those overthrows on AJ Brown on the deep balls were a little weird. He was underthrowing a lot, right? He was throwing balls behind players. Of course, like you're going to get pressured when you're facing that San Francisco team. They did a great job. They were so disciplined, like the gap discipline, not letting him run. They're an amazing defense. So there's that too. But he did miss he missed a lot of open targets. There's no doubt.
No, but I think when we get into the thick of this show, my biggest theme is going to be, particularly with the Eagles, that we still haven't seen them play a playoff game in a non-ridiculous game script. And I want to see what happens when that happens, because maybe they blow out the Chiefs too, but it seems doubtful.
And we haven't seen him face a good quarterback this year.
Ever.
Name a good quarterback they faced this year.
Heineke. He went right in and knocked you guys around.
No, he didn't do shit. It was all the run game. I'm trying to think though. Did they face a good quarterback this year? I don't actually think they faced Dak, but and he lit him up. And I wouldn't put Dak in the good tier. I'd put him like league average. Really, I don't think they did. Aaron Rodgers is a shell of his old self, right?
How many quarterbacks, it seems like you're saying though, like how many quarterbacks constitute good? Like, what do you got? 5 guys in there? Like you put Goff in there. I'm not a big Goff guy, but he played amazing this year.
Against them too.
Cousins.
Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, I'm just saying they haven't faced anyone close to Patrick Mahomes. Now, of course, there aren't a lot of quarterbacks close to Patrick Mahomes, but you know what I mean? Like they didn't face a Burrow, right? They didn't face a Josh Allen. They didn't face a Patrick Mahomes. Yes, there are not a ton of great quarterbacks out there. No questions asked on that, but they haven't faced any of those guys. But at the same time, like teams coming in against Philadelphia haven't faced the pass rush that's even remotely close to this Philly pass rush either, or an offensive line that can just grind you into the dust. So
yeah, that offensive line, I mean, you see it on those sneaks, like they get like a full yard push. It's amazing. So I don't know. I think that a lot of people maybe are on this like Philly's not that good, they're just fortunate train. I think they're pretty damn good. I really do.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
I've just seen a lot of people that are just like, well, this team is so fortunate. They're, what a joke run. And yeah, I agree with some of that, but
also
NFC is not that good. I think the AFC is the better side for sure, but I don't know what else to say.
If Hurts is healthy, I mean, Kansas City has had some struggles in that pass defense this year. Like this is a tough game. If I had to, I would go Philly just because I think all around they are a better football. I think if you were to take just strip these teams top down, like Philly has the better overall roster. But then Patrick Mahomes is your X factor here. And you also have all these question marks. We could talk about the Chiefs. Of course, cursory look here. You guys are great for hanging out with us 2 weeks in advance. And we'd love to hear your thoughts too in chat. Let us know. But the Chiefs have a lot of Juju got hurt. Kadarius Toney got hurt. Mecole Hardman comes back and he's hurt almost immediately. They've got some serious issues here. They've got 2 weeks to recover from it, but that's going to be huge. Like, is that going to be an issue for Patrick Mahomes coming into this game?
I mean, it definitely seems like it's an issue, but at the same time, it feels like Kansas City is uniquely built for a plug and play style offense. I mean, the MVS thing on a personal level was just ridiculous. I played him for 3 months straight. Yeah. And then I couldn't get to him in the 2-game slate naturally, but Also, I want to throw this out there. It seemed like early in the game that Travis Kelce couldn't run, that he was only used and he would catch it. And then he tried to lateral it on that one play. He was banged up too. So both these teams really need the 2 weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, no question. Kelce still an admirable performance. Same with Mahomes, but Mahomes, you could tell wasn't 100%. Like you could tell he wasn't 100.
But
Ryan S said, I understand our defense isn't as good as the Niners defense, but like we just held the Bengals to 20 points and the defense actually played really well. They did. Yeah. They got pressure on Mahomes. Mahomes made some bad plays under pressure, but also keep in mind, Ryan, that's the one thing I'm mentioning though, that I think we have to consider is that Bengals offensive line was piecemeal. Like the Eagles offensive line is remarkably good, right? Like best pass blocking line in the league. So how does Ben, you know this, like we've seen it with the Cowboys too, with a lot of teams. A secondary can look so much better if they're getting help from the pass rush, from the defensive line, right?
Oh, huge.
And when they're not getting that help, and we don't know, maybe they will. But if the Eagles offensive line holds up the way that it has throughout the season, it's a lot easier when a quarterback has time to be able to pick apart a defense that has, even if it's only a few holes.
Again, that's the one thing with me that I get really confused with the NFL. Like the Bengals offensive line, and I know it was in the snow, which actually turned out ironically to be a huge advantage for them. The Bills could not generate a pass rush whatsoever. And then the Chiefs, Burrow did not play well, but he was under immense pressure the whole game. Like they could not keep him upright. Yes. So just, I don't really understand how that happens, to be honest, week to week, but clearly Kansas City knew what they were doing there. Now, can they get pressure like that on the Eagles? I would say no, but I still think the Chiefs defense can do some things to disrupt this team.
I do too. What? Yeah, they still have a rush. Chiefs have a good offensive line as well. But those battles in the trenches get wild and that can decide a game anytime you're on the football field. So can Patrick Mahomes. And we've seen this Jonathan Gannon zone defense have some real issues against good quarterbacks too. So I'm excited to get into this. Andy Reid with 2 weeks, definitely key.
What the hell is going on?
Andy Reid had 2. I was going to say Andy Reid had 2 weeks against the Bucs as well, though, and they got shit on. So that's neither here nor there, in my opinion. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say something interrelated. 2 things. One, I'm going to come down to turnovers. Always does, for sure.
Totally agree.
What the hell was going on in the last show? I got questions about me and Wendy's. What were you talking about?
Well, I was saying first off how I think NFL halftime shows are stupid, all of them.
Obviously.
And how everyone was, mouth agape over last year's halftime show. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I don't even remember what it was. So,
and I took so much shit. You should have seen chat just trying to tear me apart. It was the 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop, and everything, right?
Oh yeah, that wasn't bad, but yeah,
that's what I said. But it wasn't. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever. That's all I was saying, because I don't like when songs end halfway through and then you switch it up. Like I think halftime shows are dumb. I said replace it with like gladiator games or something.
Yeah, obviously I'd be for that. How did that factor into Wendy's?
Oh, and then we started talking about how someone said I was high. And I said, no, I had a 10:30 hockey game last night, or 10 o'clock hockey game last night, and didn't get into bed till after 12 because I stopped at Wendy's on drive-through at like 11:40 at night.
Yeah, I respect that.
And I got a son of a Baconator meal, and I crushed it on the way home, and I almost ran into a telephone pole. But I need one of those sauce holders that you can put in your car. But that's when I know I've given up on life, so I refuse to do it. Like if you have a condiment holder, right? Like a dipping sauce holder in your car, that's how you know that things have gone so far south that you will never recover.
I don't really eat food in my car. So
No, I'm a big car eater.
No. First of all, I don't,
I'm good at it too. Very good at it. Knee drive.
I'm amazing. Not that people should do that. I'm an amazing knee driver as well. But yeah, I don't. First of all, there's no Wendy's. To answer the question, have I ever had Wendy's? Certainly. I love Wendy's. We don't have one near me though. So
you don't have a Chick-fil-A either. What do you have? Like McDonald's and Burger King?
There are a couple of those. We don't have, it's weird for an area like I'm not saying there's not fast food, but there's a lot of like next level fast foods, like not like the generic ones.
Like what?
Like Jersey Mike's.
Oh, we have a Jersey Mike's right around the corner too. Yeah. That's a sub place. They don't have a drive-through or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not as many like drive-through places. It's more like
Five Guys,
Salsa Fresca, Five Guys,
yeah,
Burger Barn, Bear
right. A lot of
Burger.
that stuff. Less drive-throughs. Yeah.
Yeah, less drive-through. There's Dunkin' Donuts, and there is a McDonald's, but I would never do McDonald's.
Dunkin' Donuts is on every street corner and every street in America, and it's like it's the worst place ever. I don't understand. It's insane.
I don't drink coffee, so I wouldn't.
Well, not just that. They have like breakfast sandwiches and stuff.
Well, yeah, why would I do that though?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't like donuts, so.
You're not drinking coffee is pretty crazy.
No.
All right.
Fries in the Frosty, I would do that, yeah.
Dude, dipping fries and nuggets in a Frosty is legit.
Yeah, what do I care?
Very. Let's get into a little bit of this here. So Chiefs are legitimately dealing with injuries.
Yes.
I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here. I think it's more fun to really talk about like the directions that this game takes, because then you can start building lineups based off of that, right? Like based off of the direction you think the game takes. There's a lot of prop out there that the game will be ended with either team kicking a walk-off field goal, Ben, and it's plus 750. Wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of props like that
for sure. Oh, I mean, they're clearly not like plus EV props.
No, but you know what? It's a Super Bowl. If
but
there's
it's
ever
fun.
a time to have some fun, like
it's fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, Eagles kick a walk-off field goal, 27-24 win.
Eitan said Eagles kick a walk-off field goal, 31-21. No, it's the kind of game. I don't think it's the best betting game. I think there are edges, but we'll get into it. I think for me, because we're so far out, let's be realistic. The Chiefs, we need to know who's going to be catching the ball, because none of those injuries to me seemed overly serious, but we need to know who's going to be out there when we talk about, is MVS now the guy, or was that just because of an emergency situation?
So Juju only played, I think it was 41% of snaps last week. Right? Yeah, Juju played 41% of snaps in that game. And then you had Mecole Hardman, who returned from a prolonged absence, and he played 22% of snaps. Justin Watson was out with an illness. Okay. Kadarius Toney played 4 total snaps, 6% of snaps.
I mean, that guy's always hurt.
Always. So then it's like, could Sky Moore be the guy? If Justin Watson comes back and these guys are out, could it be Justin Watson? I suppose it could. Juju, even when Juju was active, he was still a ghost, right? It's going to be tough. The Eagles are going to do everything they can to try and put the clamps on Travis Kelce. Who knows if that's even possible? I mean, it's not across 60 minutes, but who benefits the most in a game like this against this Eagles defense?
To me, it seems like a guy really emerged, and it's not that McKinnon can't factor in, but Pacheco has shown now he can not only run the ball, he can really catch the ball.
Yeah.
And you get him in space. I don't know a running back that runs harder than him. That guy is a machine, and he really, of course, I had him first touchdown score. That was real good. But he should have found the end zone. He's playing well. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that he has 15 to 20 touches in this game.
6 targets last game. That kind of came out of nowhere, right?
It came out of nowhere, but it's hard for me to think. And I know that the Chiefs really change week to week. But man, how could you watch that and be anything but encouraged as a Kansas City backer in terms of getting this guy the ball?
Totally agree. That wasn't a slight. That wasn't saying like, oh, it won't happen.
No, I know.
It was just, McKinnon had 4, but Pacheco ran 26 routes to McKinnon's 16. That's a huge, huge difference from what we've seen in previous games, right? Like that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it really, really is. Pacheco ran 11 routes in the divisional round game. So he does seem like somebody that you're going to, another thing too, though, this Eagles defense is this run defense is definitely shored up from where it was before. I still think it's, weaker than the secondary, but I'm not convinced that it's bad. And Ndamukong Suh has come in and actually made a difference. It's crazy that they pulled him and Linval Joseph off the couch. And these guys both came in. It took them a little while to get back up to speed, but like Jordan Davis, I think the Chiefs could have a relatively tougher time running the football. You might see more opportunities for Pacheco in the passing game here. I guess the question at this point is, how much more information do we need before we can really start making decisions on these guys?
I think we do need quite a bit of information on the outside for props, things of that nature, just because if they're all in, I don't think it makes much of a difference, to be honest. It's more that if a couple of them are out, that's going to change the net. Like, for some reason, I'm not saying this is the case. Say Juju and Tony are both out. Like, MVS now becomes a serious weapon, and someone that I think at the very least is going to have a massive opportunity in the game. If all of them are active, it's going to be a pick your poison and whatnot. But I think it would solidify a lot of guys. Whereas if the Chiefs, let me ask you this, if the Chiefs are all healthy, I think Travis Kelce is the only guy for sure who's going to have a serious workload.
Pretty much. And then who knows? Does Clyde Edwards-Helaire get into the mix a little bit? My guess is it's unlikely that he sees.
Why?
I know. He hasn't played since what? Like November?
Yeah. I mean, Pacheco to me is just better than these guys. So why would you be seeding work?
You shouldn't. There's no reason to. Unless you try and do something crazy and just get cute, which, is that Andy Reid's go-to? Not necessarily. I think on the other side too, though, and I want to get to some bets here. I have a couple that I really like. Honestly, on the other side, we have to be considering Gainwell as well. I know these first two games blew out. That's not lost on me, right? So they go up and Kenny Gainwell gets more involved later in the game, but he still has 26 attempts over the last 2 weeks. He is the pass catching back, even though they don't throw to running backs a ton in this offense. He is the pass catching back there. Like, I think Kenny Gainwell has to be considered as well.
Definitely has to be considered, but I am going to really attack the narrative that if these two games were different games, that Gainwell and Scott would not be where they're at.
I want to think so, but I don't.
Really?
Yeah, Scott, yes. Gainwell, no. Because he was good. Like, he was efficient. He really, of course, against the Niners, you don't expect him to be great. Okay. But it's not like Miles Sanders was considerably better. Against the Giants, I mean, both of those guys were good, but Kenny Gainwell was electric in that game. He's averaging over 5 yards per attempt on the season. I'm not, all season I've said that I still think it's Sanders' backfield, and I haven't really been wrong for the most part throughout the season when Sanders is healthy in games that they were looking to, needed to win. But the splits I'm beginning to see here, I'm not convinced that Kenny Gainwell isn't going to get a decent amount of work here. I'm really not.
So the thing that most concerns me if I short Gainwell is something that's actually pretty obvious. I think he's really good.
That's what I mean.
I know. And that's in the Pacheco bucket. Like, when they give him work, how could they not come away thinking anything but we probably should get this guy involved? When you look at the pricing, we don't need to dig too into it. He's flat 5K. That's the other thing. And I know Showdown's a little different. The problem I had with Gainwell last week wasn't that he makes no sense, anything like that. He was nearly $5,000. Like,
basically the same price as Sanders last week.
That's insane. To me, in a close game, Gainwell will cede more work than you expect to Miles Sanders.
I don't disagree with that. But I also think that the Eagles are going to continue running the football. Unless they go down early, then that could be ugly. But then you're going to – but that's the weirdest thing about all of this. If they go down early, it's going to be Kenny Gainwell out there.
Is it?
Yeah. Kenny Gainwell is their 2-minute drill guy. Like Kenny Gainwell can catch passes. They would rather throw the football to Kenny Gainwell than Miles Sanders.
Gainwell MVP odds. Whew.
Yeah, I'm not going that. I think here's a good segue into best bets. I think if you're betting the MVP, you bet either quarterback on the team you think that's going to win. And here's why. No? Okay.
Go ahead. No, I want to talk about this because this is very.
Here's my take on this. It is not a bet that like is driven by some algorithm, right? Like this is a subjective bet, or I'm not sorry. It is not. It's an award. Sorry, it's a subjective award chosen by people. You are going into this one, right? I'm sure you've already heard the narrative, like the two black quarterbacks, first time meeting in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, another one. Like no one expected him to be good. No one ever thought that he'd be efficient. No one ever thought a second round quarterback whose accuracy problems were massive could do this. Coming off the shoulder injury, Patrick Mahomes playing through pain with a high ankle sprain, toughing that out. It's Patrick Mahomes, two marquee quarterbacks. The one guy was the leading MVP odds before the injury. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP after the Jalen Hurts injury. If these guys are even remotely competent, it's going to be one of these guys. Same thing with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes a few years ago. Like it should have been Devin White. In the Mahomes year that they won, it probably should have been Damian Williams that won it. But when you have marquee quarterbacks, right, it's very likely that one of those guys, if they win and they're even decent, is going to get it done. Not to mention that Hurts has rushing upside as well, which just adds to the likelihood.
I agree with all that. Last 15 years, 10 quarterbacks have won MVP. This is my one point to this. If you look at oddshopper.com and you shop the line, you're going to find the Eagles money line sitting at like minus 130 for the game. If you bet Hurts to win MVP, I've seen him around plus 130 range. I think that's a pretty worthwhile flip. You're moving that, say, 60 points. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. From minus 130 to plus 130. And how many times did the Eagles win and Hurts doesn't get it? Now, if you lose because the MVP will be from the winning team. That's a fact. The difference for me with Mahomes, though, the Chiefs are plus money to win the game. I see him at plus 110. Mahomes to win MVP is only like plus 120. So I know you're getting a little, but you're not getting much by doing that. And I do think there are a few scenarios where Mahomes gets hurt. It's Kelsey has like 4 touchdowns. So for 10 extra points, I don't think it's worth it. For Hurts, I do. Okay.
My only argument to that would be the reason those odds look like that for Mahomes is because of everything I just said.
It's a virtual certainty that he will win if they win.
Win. Yes. Right. That's why you're not getting. I do have a dark horse though for you. You have any dark horses? I thought my Aaron Donald Super Bowl bet was winning last year. I thought he should have won. It went to Cooper Kupp. I thought Aaron Donald should have won last year. There's no doubt that he was very close. No doubt. That was my dark horse last year. We didn't get there. We were close. But Hassan Reddick, 40-1 plus 4,000. If the Eagles win and Jalen Hurts doesn't have a great game, let's kind of think about how this goes, right? If the Eagles win and Jalen Hurts doesn't have a great game, that means that the Eagles defense probably stepped up in a big way, or it's another committee approach at the running back position, which in all likelihood, you don't see one of those guys getting it because they mix them up a lot. Hassan Reddick is elite. If there's one way to disrupt Patrick Mahomes, it is with Hassan Reddick. You know, we've already seen him with strip sacks and fumble recoveries this year. A lot of that type of stuff. If I'm going dark horse with the assumption, say that the Eagles win and it's not Hurts, I think plus 4,000, 40-1 on Hassan Reddick as a defensive player is actually a spot that makes some sense.
Yeah, The tricky part with defensive player, it always helps if you have a huge name. Like Aaron Donald is one of the few household names for a defender. Nobody knows who Hassan Reddick is. So he's probably going to have to score a touchdown, and it has to be low scoring. I think that's the same for Darius Slay. I think that's the same for Chris Jones. All of those guys are elite players. I just don't know how many times they get there unless it's a low scoring game and they actually score a touchdown. I'd be more apt, to me, you want to talk about correlation. You just mentioned MVP to winner. How many times do you think a defensive player wins the MVP without scoring a touchdown?
I don't know.
I'd rather just bet like Reddick to score.
Can you?
You can find. I got a message from Aton who said, hold on, let's pull it up here. Oh boy, here we go. He said to me, do you know where I can find a jet flyover bet? And I didn't respond, and he said, never mind, found it. So if you can find that, you can find Reddick to score a touchdown somewhere.
Right, but like I'm trying to avoid the offshore bullshit. Like
it depends on your state. Like I don't even have MVP in New York.
Really?
Yeah, you can't bet on individual awards here.
You know what I was looking for? You know what's weird to me is like you can't find, maybe we will be able to, but fumble props. Like Patrick Mahomes fumble.
That would be awesome.
Because I think he last week was the first week he ever lost a fumble in the postseason. Okay. And that wasn't even the defense. That was a ghost's fault. Right. He didn't lose one all regular season either. I think if the pressure is upon him and he's not as mobile still, this could be a spot he loses a fumble. The odds on that are probably long as hell on a yes. So there's some fun stuff. We're going to find it, but I've backed away recently when we do these shows of talking about like the wild offshore stuff, because now so many people actually have the ability to really legally bet, right? Like on stuff where you know that if you withdraw, your money's coming to you. So
yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, this is the beauty. And again, this is why I know a lot of you are here on the DFS side. What we got going on over at OddsShopper is never more important. I have a video, you just put one out. Some of the discrepancies in the lines, I'm looking at props right now, like Jalen Hurts passing yards. One book's got him at 241. One book has him at 250. Like you have 9-yard windows on the compare tool right now over at OddsShopper. And it's going to be like that for all these props. And you're going to have props on like, Blake Bell. You'll have like third string tight end props in this game, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's Matt Gajewski's favorite props in the Super Bowl. He's like your third string tight end
for the edges.
Yeah. I love, oh, by the way, Kenny Gainwell to score a touchdown. If you out there are of the mindset that he will be involved, plus 425 on DraftKings.
Anytime?
What's that?
Anytime touchdown?
Anytime touchdown. But listen to this. Pinnacle plus 290. BetMGM plus 200. Never. Dude, BetMGM's got some amazing stuff. Never bet anytime touchdown scores at BetMGM. Just don't do it. Like you'll find the worst odds there for anytime touchdown scores. Excuse me. Pinnacle's plus 280 last I looked. So you're getting plus 425 on Gainwell anytime touchdown on DraftKings.
This is what I'm talking about. Like
huge difference.
Hundreds of points of difference. All you have to do is go to the shop tool and look. I'm on it right now, and I'm literally just scanning. Some of these guys, again, I'm not saying they're going to score or anything, but you've got guys that are 8-1 and 4-1 in the same breath. Like that's ridiculous.
Who is that? Do you have someone in mind, or you just
like Justin Watson? He's sporting a Q tag. He's plus 850 to score over on PointsBet, plus 380 on FanDuel. Like, just when this news comes out, we're really going to be able to find some stuff. So even Goddard is up at plus 210. I also see him as low as plus 150.
By the way, the last defensive player to win the MVP, and for what it's worth, there have been 2 of them in like the last 10 years. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Didn't Von Miller win it?
Von Miller without a touchdown.
But it's, again, to me, that doesn't count.
Why?
Because Von Miller and Aaron Donald are household names, just like a quarterback.
Yeah.
The guy who won it for the Bucks, I don't even know his name. He had like 3 touchdowns in that game, it felt like.
I think you're discounting how good Reddick is, though.
No. He's amazing, but if you asked 100 people to name a defensive player in the NFL, I honestly think 70 plus would say Aaron Donald or Von Miller.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair, but all right.
It's not a real award.
You're saying it's doable, but you absolutely think that he needs to score.
Yes.
What if he has like 3 sacks and a strip sack fumble recovery?
I think Hurts would, barring Hurts doing literally nothing, I think that would be problematic. JJ Watt, that's another great answer. He's just not on relevant teams. Yep.
All right. You want to
JJ Watt might win MVP. They might just give it to him. Retirement gift. No problem.
To who?
JJ Watt.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. It's a popularity contest.
No doubt. But that's why I think, and I understand your thoughts on Mahomes. But I do think, and the odds bear this out, obviously, just so highly likely that it's going to be a quarterback because of their names. If this was a Jared Goff, if this was like a Jared Goff, Derek Carr Super Bowl, let's just say they miraculously made it there because their defenses are amazing. It's not the same thing as Jalen. You know as well as I do, other than like the Kelsey brothers squaring off against each other, first-time brothers have faced each other in the Super Bowl, or the Andy Reid returning the face his former team. You know the biggest storyline is going to be Mahomes versus Hurts.
Of course.
And it should be. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's why to upstage that, you need a truly miraculous play.
All right. Are we going to – I still think 40-1, though, is nice. We can agree to disagree. Are we going to – I think we need to sweat some of these bets with chat, right? Like it's the last game of the year. We need to lock a couple in here and sweat them with our people who have watched us all year long. I mentioned don't take the touchdown props at BetMGM, but take this bet. And when you do it, use the link in the description. Get a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. Please don't not do this. It's an entire month free. All of our DFS tools, right? All of them. So even if you're not into betting, maybe you're looking to get into it, maybe you're not, but you'd still like the tools, doesn't matter. You need 2 minutes of time to sign up using the link in the description or the one in chat. You're taking $10. You're putting it on any spot you want. I have one for you. Ben probably has one for you. Ben, any spot you want. If you win, you get paid out and you get a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. Every tool on the site for every single sport, all of them created by the sharpest dudes out there. That's why you see so many big winners in the Hall of Fame all the time, rocking the Stokastic avatar. And if you lose, you still get the free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum, and you get everything back in bonus bets up to $1,000 on your first bet. Can be 10, 50, 1,000, all of that back with their first bet insurance. Why not? Why don't we do it this way? You know what I mean? It's just the easiest way to get free money.
Oh, no doubt. Again, betting is really tough. It's a grind. I would know, believe me. When the books, or in this case, the books and us are saying, hey, we're gonna make it worth your while with tools, with sweeteners, with other things, bonus bets. There's no better time. And this isn't going away. A lot of fun opportunities. I'm going to throw mine out there and get this started if I can.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text. You can text 1-800-GAMBLER.
How about this? Plus, just a little plus, true coin flip, plus 102. And I've bet this 2 weeks in a row, and I think I would have hit it both weeks in a row, but I didn't have the opportunity. A.J. Brown over 5.5 receptions. The guy will be utilized. He's had 14 targets in these double blowout games. He's going to have 10 plus targets if this stays close. He's a great player. They will give him opportunities. A.J. Brown is going to have 7, 8, 9 catches in this game.
Damn, dude. My prop was over 70.5 receiving yards.
He's going to have a day. He is primed to have a day.
I think it's a smash. I did the 5 early bold predictions for betting over on the Odd Shopper channel for Super Bowl. Check that out, by the way. It's a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun making that video over on the Odd Shop. Ben's got one coming out today too. Tips on how to actually bet the Super Bowl without losing your ass and still having a good time. And I said, the bold prediction wasn't over 70.5. That was the spot I wanted to give people because we don't have any alt lines yet. But I think I'll be taking the alt 100 plus receiving yards on AJ Brown in the spot. This is why they drafted him, Ben. This is why, I'm sorry, this is why they traded for him in the draft. This is why. And they haven't needed him in the last 2 games. He still has 14 targets over those 2. They haven't needed him. And yet still, Hurts targeted him deep twice downfield last game. They were off target. His shoulder should be a little bit better. So you got over 5.5, and that's at plus money. Love that.
Plus money.
Over 7.5 is it or 70.5 receiving yards? Is it minus 115? I really thought by the time I woke up today that would have moved, or the over would have been juiced to like 135, and it's not. It
will be by the time the Super Bowl comes.
No
I can
doubt.
tell you that much.
No doubt. Get in on it with us. Bet MGM, baby. If it's available to you, take advantage. Get the month. Get the free. Get the bonus bets back if you lose. Get all of that. But yeah, bet AJ Brown. And in this spot, I think I'm going to have a ton of AJ Brown captain in this game as well.
Yeah, I here's my one of, if not my highest owned player on the slate in the last go around for the championship games. And I just love everything about it. So now that Rager isn't there, and they need someone to try to fill that void for my man, AJ Brown's the next logical choice.
That's it. Filling the Jalen Rager void.
If you had him, I mean, the spread, what do you think the spread would be? North of a touchdown?
If there was no AJ Brown?
No, if you had Rager.
Oh yeah. Eagles are 3-point dogs.
Yeah. Just Kansas City minus 12.5.
Yeah. I love AJ Brown in this spot. I really do think the price on Gainwell is nice. I think the anytime touchdown at plus 425 is sweet over on DraftKings. Hurts had a rough game last time out, but of course you're facing just a dominant defense. They ran the ball a lot. I had Hurts, you know this. I had Hurts over 9.5 rushing attempts. Listen, if they keep giving me those type of numbers, I will absolutely continue to hit those.
I'm on board with that as well. I mean, in a game, I am looking at these 2 games and saying, this doesn't tell the full story. He had 20 rushing attempts total against the Giants and the Niners. And that's about as low as it could be.
They outscored him 68-14, and he had 20 rushing attempts.
And that's as injured. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I can't imagine that he's any worse off. It seems like he's either the same or in a better situation, injury-wise.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it can't get worse.
It literally is the worst situation you could have for the over on his rushing attempts. Double blowouts and banged up.
And still got there last week.
That's what I'm saying. It is primed for him to truly have, I think, 15 carries in this game.
Me too. Yeah. And mind you, these could be 50. We don't care how many yards he goes for. That's the great thing.
He is great. And you saw this. He is going to give you 3 to 5 carries that aren't real carries, that he runs for 1 yard and sticks the ball out and goes out of bounds. Yep. That counts.
And how many times do they go for QB sneaks on 3rd and 4th and short?
Yeah.
He got over the 9.5 because he had 2 rushing attempts at the goal line, 2nd and 3rd down. Goal to go, I think it was at the 1 yard line, and he went 10 and 11. So yeah.
Yep.
But great for DFS. I mean, there's no questions about that. Philly just has a more condensed offense. You know, that's what makes it difficult. It's hard to talk about Kansas City's offense in the passing game outside of Kelsey. And you mentioned Pacheco. I agree. Philly's offense is just like, it is more condensed. These guys are expensive, a lot of them, but it is more condensed, and any one of them could blow up on any given day.
Absolutely. I mean, I think for me, though, when I look at my props, particularly props I want to lock in right now, I'd say 90% of them are on the Eagles side.
I said the same thing in the video yesterday. Like, hey, I'm not trying to only talk about Eagles picks here, Eagles props. And I did have one. I still think you might, if you're looking the same game parlay, if that's your thing, Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 touchdown passes. It's juiced heavy to the over, but I think that's, as good as it gets.
I'll give you a hot take. I don't have it in front of me.
Let's hear it.
Patrick Mahomes, no touchdowns, no touchdown passes.
None,
0.
You think that's not gonna happen? But you would. What would you bet that if you got it?
I got to look at that line. I assume that's going to be a big time number. I have interest in that. Yeah, I think there's multiple ways that the Eagles just stifle them. I also think there's multiple ways and more likely that the Chiefs still get some and Pacheco gets a couple.
Wow.
Obviously, I'm talking about like this is a sub. It's going to have to be a big number. It's not like, oh, it's plus 250. Like, no, I'm talking like 8, 10, 12 to 1 or something.
Right. Yeah. So like now you can't even do under 1. It's just all 1+ touchdowns.
Yeah, you would have to find that on its own prop. I'm not saying it's the same game parlay. Yeah, thank you, Tank. That's scorching hot. Let's not get crazy when Mahomes throws a pass and everyone's like, the guy said he wasn't going to score. No, I'm sure he'll be just fine. But I think there's some ways you can mess around with those type of, or even Jalen Hurts, no touchdown passes. Won't be as high of a number.
I like them both to throw 2+. That was one of my hot takes. So we both have the opposite hot takes. I think they both throw 2+ touchdowns.
Yeah, I'd say that's the most likely outcome.
It is technically the most likely outcome given the odds. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But okay, so then you like Mahomes under 1.5 touchdowns at plus 180?
No, not really.
So you would just want to go like mega hot take for 0. And then
again, it's all about the number. Like it has to do with the number, the break even point.
What if you got no touchdowns at 5 to 1?
No, I don't think that'd be enough.
Okay. So okay.
I would love to find this number. Maybe I'm off base here. To me, that number would be huge.
It has to be, right?
Like 5 to 1. That I think I might bet over a half touchdown at like minus 600.
The only reason I said that is because under 1.5, right? Under 1.5 is plus 180.
But it doesn't work like that though when you're talking about such a small number.
I understand that.
No, I know you do.
I get that. I'm just saying, like, 36% implied odds to throw less than 2. You're right. But you're right. It's not just like, okay, if you throw less than 2, then the chances of throwing 0 are the same. That
just means he throws 1 like
right
75% of the time.
So what do you think? What would you do? What would you take it at if you could find it?
If there's a 10 to 1 or better, I probably will sprinkle on that. If it's like 7 or 8 to 1, maybe. He also, you never know, he could just get hurt. There's always that.
That is true.
Like,
I mean, the Eagles just knocked 2 quarterbacks out of the game, and
they're going to get some pressure on him, and he's unbelievable. I mean, he is just an actual wizard. But is that my favorite bet on this game? Far from it. But I'm definitely for the Super Bowl going to have a couple of, crazy type bets, and that's one I actually want to look to.
What is your favorite bet on the game? Is it the AJ Brown?
Oh, there's no doubt.
For me too.
There's no doubt. I love that. This is my favorite props I've had in a long time.
Yeah. How do you feel about the yardage total too?
Fine. I mean, AJ Brown, it's just they're two sides of the same coin to me, because AJ Brown, there are going to be some games where he has 4 for 90, and there'll be some games where he has 7 for 65. And you cut off a little equity on both sides, but most of the time when you win, I win, and when I win, you win.
Yep. Over 94.5 receiving yards. You have to go to same game though, is plus 215.
What is it?
Plus 215 over 94.5 receiving yards.
I kind of like that too.
Yeah, me too.
You can explore, not that there's you've got Kelsey on the other side, like AJ Brown to have the most receiving yards in the game. I'll probably look at that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Like, I think he's going to.
That's a nice one. I think it's him, Kelsey, or Devonta Smith, probably.
I mean, Devontae Smith won it in that game with like 7, which is just a disgrace. I've never seen something like that in my life.
I know.
Did you see that line?
What? What do you mean?
Devontae Smith had the most receiving yards in that game.
And what did he have? Like 45?
I don't even think it was. I'll tell you right now. It was something ridiculous. He had 36 yards
on 2 receptions.
Yeah. And 29 of them shouldn't have even counted, but that's
right. And Brown had 8 targets last game too.
Yeah, that's what, again, same logic I'm going to use with Hurts carries. He had 20 carries in as bad a game script as you could have. AJ Brown had 14 targets in those 2 games. You couldn't ask for a worse situation for him.
You really couldn't. Oh, Swoop, fun question. That's a good one, man. I was looking at some of these too. There's not a ton out there, unfortunately, right now, but he has Eagles over 5 sacks. So it'd be 5.5. What do you think the odds would be on that? That's still with a guy like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have a good offensive line. That's still
high.
That would be really high. That would be real high. Right? Yeah, no, it has to be. That would be real high.
That's up there with Mahomes throwing no touchdowns to me.
You think?
6 sacks? That's a lot of sacks.
Oh, it's a ton. I mean, the Eagles have 78 sacks this season, which is just preposterous, but they're averaging over 4 a game, but 6 against Mahomes too. That's the thing, against Mahomes, who's just a magician outside of the pocket.
I like that bet though. Again, for the right price, I'd have to break down what I think that would be.
Right. I would love to see if we could find something like that. I think we'll have something, right? Eventually.
Depending on where you are, again, New York, I can't bet stuff like that.
Eagles total sacks on DraftKings is over 2.5, juiced minus 140 to the over. That's 2.5 sacks.
Yeah. So over 5.5 would be massive.
Yeah. Astronomical. I wonder if they'll do that. I would love to see them. Like if you could ladder the sack prop, that'd be kind of fun, right? Being able to ladder a sack prop.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. And Tank says Philly gets 6 sacks way before Mahomes doesn't throw a TD. I'd agree with that. I think there's a better chance that Philly would get the sacks before Mahomes.
If you're betting the 6 sacks, do you also bet Mahomes no touchdown passes?
Then it gets a little dangerous. I would say no, but just because if they get 6 sacks, it means that the Eagles are probably winning throughout, and Mahomes probably drops back like 50 times to get that type of volume. He probably scores then.
Mark says the Eagles or the Chiefs O-line is good, ? The Bengals spent a lot of time in the Chiefs backfield for an O-line that is good, ? I mean, I'm just telling you what the
Bengals pass rush too. Like I respect it.
I'm not making things up though. Yes, the Chiefs are a good pass blocking team. They're a good pass blocking team. Does it mean the Eagles can't get to them? No, but like this is not the New York Giants offensive line.
I gotta take shots at the Giants.
Well, because that offensive line stings. Adjusted sack rate this year, offensive line, Football Outsiders, the Chiefs are 5th best in the league. So adjusted sack rate, Football Outsiders metric, they are 5th best in the league, offensive line. Yeah. Mark, I don't think you understand. I'm a massive Eagles fan, but I'm not blind to the fact that they can block, that Patrick Mahomes is good at navigating in the pocket and outside of the pocket. That's all. All right. Hey, if you were building a lineup right now.
Yes.
Who's your captain?
AJ Brown.
It is AJ Brown?
It would be AJ Brown or Pacheco.
Okay. Any Eagle? We talked about some Chiefs. Any Eagles you want to get into here before? I think we got into most of them.
No, there's
no real direction on this show, of course. You know, it's like this is just the first look shooting the shit here.
Yeah. I do have an outrageous factoid before we leave as well. That's nothing to do with the game, but anyway. No, I listen, I think Sanders I'm indifferent to. Goddard I'm indifferent to. These are guys that are going to be parts of the offense. They're in Arizona. Obviously, it's a great for kickers, it's great weather. This is Kansas City kicker and a Philly kicker. They kick in worse conditions than this. So all positives for that type of stuff.
I want to hear this factoid. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Before we do, though, Prize Picks. For those of you guys that don't have BetMGM in your state, Prize Picks is awesome, especially in non-legal betting states. You want to scratch that itch. Take advantage of an awesome format. Also get a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. I've said it once. I'll say it a million times. We don't do this just to give free stuff out. You don't find this at other sites because we do it knowing that, hey, we've been around a little while now. We want people to check our tools out. It's that simple. Like, we want you to check them out. We want you to win. We want to see you up there in the Hall of Fame rocking the Stokastic avatar. What better way to do that than to say, hey, not everyone has the bankroll right now to pay for a month. Not everyone is in a situation to do so. Maybe they got burned by another site and they just don't trust paying for subscriptions for tools. In this case, you're just depositing $10 or however much you want on Prize Picks, up to $100 first match deposit bonus. You're getting the deposit bonus. You're playing on a great site where you're just making lineups. And unlike on other books, you could hit 4 of 5 in your lineup and still 2x. You hit 6 of 6, you 25x, 5 of 5, you 10x. You still make money back hitting 3 of 5. Unlike other books where a parlay, you hit 4 of 5, boom, you're done. Thank you for your business. It's an awesome site. They have an insane assortment. I can't wait for the Super Bowl props that Prize Picks is going to have. I'm telling you, they have stuff that other books don't have all the time. It's awesome. Check it out. Get your free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. Take advantage of all of our tools and sign up at Prize Picks. Get the deposit bonus. Links in the description and in chat. We want you guys to check out the tools, join the Discord, join the family, and play over at our wonderful sponsor, Prize Picks, and win some. What a great way to sustain your bankroll and build it at the same time. It really is an awesome site, and we love having them here sponsoring the strategy show. So check it out if you haven't done so yet, especially if it's available to you and legal sports betting isn't. All right. Talk to me about the factoid that you have here. What are we doing here?
All right, chat. Listen to this. I'm gonna like pause for 10 seconds after I ask it if you want to throw in a guess. Humans to ants, the ratio in the world. So how many ants, obviously, if you think about it, there are more ants than humans. For every human, how many ants do you think there are on Earth? I saw this the other day. Outrageous.
And by the other day, Ben means like sometime in the summer.
So it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. I saw this, forgot that I saw this, and then saw this week. And I was going to say to you, didn't I tell you this? Like,
I was walking the dog. I still remember where I was. I have a weird memory like that, where like I can remember where with stupid things. I remember where I was exactly. And I looked down and I see this because it was interesting to me. This was a while ago, right? You did mention it. And I had a guess that I thought was a pretty big number and ended up being, and you said the same thing about your own guess, ended up being nowhere even remotely close to what it was.
Yeah. You see, chat, we got 200 to 1, 3,000 to 1. There are 2.5 million ants per person.
It's crazy. I think I said 100,000.
20 quadrillion ants on Earth.
20 quadrillion.
20 quadrillion ants on Earth.
You know, they're industrious little fuckers too.
So, and we're not going to get down like a whole monologue because I got a lot of shit to do today. But I do want to say to you, and I was thinking about this. If you could control all the ants, do you think that you could do some serious damage?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You would just be able to. Okay. So when we say damage, do we mean, can I use them as a hitman? Like from
yeah, you could do whatever you want.
Do you remember Black Territory? Did you watch Black Mirror?
No.
You didn't? They had like the robotic bee that went into the people's ear and just like scrambled their brain. You could have ants sneak in if you could control. You're talking about like billions, a billion army of marching ants, right?
Well, you have 20 quadrillion.
Right, but I'd have them on separate missions.
Do whatever you want. Right,
but I'm saying I wouldn't put them all in the same spot. I'd have them branched out, doing different things at the same time. I'd try and really utilize time wisely and be efficient with my ants. Right.
But I don't know if you could, like, you think you could hold territory?
I think you could. No, I think you could easily assassinate somebody though. Easily.
Yeah, I would hope so with 20 quadrillion.
But okay, just come in and smother them.
I'm talking about like, do you think you could take over Pennsylvania?
No, that is insane.
I didn't say that you could. I thought about it though.
All you need is a
Raid?
huge dude. All you'd need to do is install a big magnifying glass.
But you don't think 20 quadrillion? I mean, I guess that's fair.
That would be incredible. Or just a flamethrower.
I don't think you understand how many ants you're talking about, though.
Ben.
See, this is where we get into trouble because now people are thinking I'm taking that side. I'm not, but you're disregarding how many ants that is. Could they assassinate someone? Yes, they could. They could kill a lot of people, like thousands of people.
That's what I'm saying. You'd have to send them on solo missions. Like mission, not solo by themselves, but missions to take out one person at a time.
I mean, there's a lot of people in Pennsylvania.
You have to consider like I could stomp out like what, 1 million of them in one shot with my foot.
1 million?
Okay, how many thousand?
I don't know, but you need to stomp out 2.5 million just to do your part.
Okay, so it would take me an hour to take, maybe. It would take me
to you.
Maybe what?
I'd be interested in, again, I'm not saying the ants have the ability to control them. Like they're not just running aimlessly. Like you could, I think I could put together a pretty comprehensive plan to cause you some issues.
Me or my state of Pennsylvania?
We'll start with you.
Yes, of course. I'm saying
then we'll get all your machine guns and I'll turn them on the.
That would be a huge problem. But as far as like, if you had some defensive mechanisms in place when you see them coming, you could wipe them out.
I mean, the Air Force would have a distinct advantage.
Well, all you'd have to do
pesticides.
Is Ben, just empty some swimming pools.
What the hell does that?
Drown them. Take just like a flamethrower.
There's also like different types of ants, I think.
Well, of course there are. Sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure some of them don't, like bullet ants.
That's scary. Now, if you're talking bullet ants, they have that ritual out there where you put the gloves on and, it's your rite of passage. You become it's your rite of passage to become a man in this tribe. I forget the name of the tribe. You have to put gloves on filled with bullet ants.
Yeah, that's dumb. I should go down and talk to those people.
Yeah, but you know that no matter how many there are, that there's no chance.
I wonder where they would stack up in the, like, if you could control all the insert animal or bug, where ants would be. Probably pretty high, I think.
Okay, if you could control them.
Yes.
How would you do it if you wanted to take over a territory?
I would probably figure out something with I assume they could cause some problems with the ground. Can't they navigate? Like, I certainly wouldn't have them come up, then they'd be exposed, but can't they get to where they need to be? I'd have them tunnel like under the, I don't know, like the Pentagon or something.
But then
that'd be your best shot.
But then what?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying there's a lot of ants. The moral of the story is there's a lot of ants. There's a lot of chickens, but there's even more ants.
If I could take one insect to really do damage, it would have to be the cow killer or it's a type of wasp. Like
it was like 30 of them.
What?
Why would you pick something that is so like, how many of those are?
Because if I can control them, it would have to be just massive wasps. Give me the cow killer.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah. Look up the shoebill stork. I was talking about that yesterday on the show. Prehistoric bird. Fucking dinosaur.
So there are crazy, like glyptodons, giant armadillos. Some of those things, if they were still around, would be big problems. Big problems.
Yeah. Well, okay. This ended on a strong note.
No better way to have this show come to a close.
I mean, we're 2 weeks out from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
What does anyone expect? Hey, you guys are the best. We'll be back. We'll be doing this. It was fun to talk about some betting though, right? Like some early betting stuff out there. This stuff's going to move a lot, Ben.
That's going to be the beauty of this. We set the stage of some of the things we're going to look into. And then next week we can build lineups on this show, get into how do we actually construct who's in, who's out, stuff like that. You know,
hit that thumbs up before you go. Remember, Prize Picks, BetMGM, both of those in the description. Also, the NBA Bet Pro tool, just been killing it over there. First week of that's totally free. If you're looking to get into some betting, take advantage of it, whether you're signing up at BetMGM or you have an account anywhere else. But thanks, guys. Follow Ben at JazzRaz DFS, me at Lafayette_D. Shout out to Mike Lawrence for producing this one. Peace.